I turned 70 this year, and if I could sit across from the 50-year-old version of me, maybe with a cup of coffee between us, there are a few things I'd beg him to know before it's too late. Because one day you'll wake up and realize life passed in a blink. If you're in your 50s right now, don't scroll away. These aren't generic quotes. These are real lessons earned through pain, laughter, and time. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll walk away with wisdom that could save you years of regret and maybe even extend your life. Let's get started with part 1. Don't postpone peace. In your 50s, stress still feels productive, like it's fuel, but it's not. It's fire, and eventually it burns everything. Did you know that one of the greatest silent threats to health after 50 isn't cholesterol, diabetes, or even arthritis? It's the invisible weight most of us carry without noticing: chronic stress. Stress wears many masks. It can look like achievement. It can sound like ambition. But underneath, it's quietly eating away at our peace, our presence, and sometimes our very will to live. I didn't truly understand this until I met Helen Navarro. Helen Navarro was, by all external measures, a success. She climbed the corporate ladder with the sharp determination of a woman who knew exactly what she wanted. By the time she was 55, she was the vice president of a national real estate firm, had a condo in New York, a weekend house in Connecticut, and a closet filled with tailored suits and 6-inch heels. But inside, she was unraveling. I live by my calendar, Helen told me. Every minute was scheduled. Meetings, flights, emails, dinners. I even color-coded my weekends. And I was proud of that. I thought it made me valuable. What she didn't schedule was time with her mother, or her sister, or her goddaughter who had invited her to every birthday party for 10 years. I always said, I'll come next time, or when this deal is closed, I'll take a weekend off. But the deals never stopped, and the next times ran out. Helen's mother passed away suddenly one November, a stroke in her sleep. The last time Helen had seen her was 9 months prior, over a rushed brunch where she spent most of the time texting under the table. I missed her last Thanksgiving. I missed her last Christmas. I missed her. And for what? A title? A bonus? That wasn't success. That was a trade I didn't know I was making. She paused, her voice trembling. I'd trade every promotion for one more dinner at her kitchen table. What stress really steals from us. Helen isn't alone. So many of us, in our 50s, believe we're still supposed to be chasing goals, dreams, retirement funds, or simply relevance in a fast-moving world. And while drive is not the enemy, unrelenting stress is. According to Dr. Daniel Goldman, a longevity researcher and former cardiologist, chronic stress accelerates cellular aging. It's like sandpaper on your DNA. Over time, it erodes your body's ability to heal, to rest, and to resist disease. He continues, we used to think of stress as emotional. Now we know it's physical. It affects your immune system, your heart, even your brain volume. It literally shrinks parts of the brain associated with memory and emotional regulation. Studies have shown that those living with chronic stress after 50 have a 29% higher risk of heart attack and a 33% higher risk of stroke. But even more alarming, many don't even realize they're stressed. They're just busy. Helen says her real breakdown happened not when her mother passed, but 6 months later at a conference in Chicago. She was giving a presentation on strategic expansion, standing at the podium in her sharpest suit, and suddenly everything went quiet. I looked out at the crowd and couldn't remember what I was supposed to say. My slides were there, my notes, but my mind just froze. My chest hurt. My hands were shaking. It felt like my body was saying, enough. She flew home that night and never returned to that job. The months that followed weren't glamorous. Helen struggled with guilt, with loneliness, with identity. But she also learned. She started therapy. She began gardening. She joined a yoga class filled with women 20 years younger who welcomed her without judgment. She adopted a rescue dog. And slowly, she said, I remembered how to breathe. So what peace looks like after 70? Helen is 73 now. She teaches mindfulness workshops at a local community center. Her days are simple: a morning walk, a journal session, homemade soup, long phone calls with her sister, evening documentaries, and an occasional wine night with friends. People think peace is boring, she laughs. They have no idea. Peace is freedom. Peace is sleeping through the night. Peace is not feeling like you're being chased, even when you're sitting still. She keeps a photo of her mother by her bed now. It's a faded shot of them at the beach eating watermelon. Helen is 6 years old, grinning with sticky cheeks. Her mother is laughing. Every night I say goodnight to her. That's peace. That's my success story. Well, now I'll tell you about it. Practical ways to reclaim peace. 1- schedule. Silence. Just like you schedule meetings, schedule 20 minutes of silence each day. No phone, no TV, just you and your breath. 2. Practice saying no. Don't apologize for protecting your peace. Not every call needs to be answered. Not every invitation needs a yes. 3. Simplify your spaces. Declutter a single drawer or surface. Clean spaces ease mental clutter. 4. Reconnect with nature. Take walks without a destination. Watch a sunrise. Grow something. 5. Write daily gratitudes. Each night list 3 things that brought you joy, no matter how small. Bonus tip for you. Start your day without your phone. Try 30 minutes of digital quiet each morning. Stretch, breathe, drink water, watch the light shift. Begin with peace and carry it with you. And about Helen's story isn't just about work. It's about all the ways we push peace aside. I'll relax when the house is clean. I'll rest after this deadline. I'll slow down when the kids move out. But here's the truth. Life never really slows down. You have to choose to. So we ask you right now, what are you postponing for when things calm down? Why wait? Leave a comment below. Let this be your moment to say, I choose peace now. Part 2. Choose who you let close, ruthlessly. Your time becomes more sacred with every passing year, and the people you give it to shape your mind, your mood, your health. Some lessons in life come like whispers. Others arrive like thunder. And about Michael Wong's came during breakfast, with the sound of a coffee mug smashing against tile. Michael had been married for 34 years. To outsiders, it looked solid, comfortable, routine. They had 2 children, a modest home, and a dinner schedule that hadn't changed in 15 years. But behind closed doors, Michael walked on eggshells. I never knew what version of her I'd come home to, he said. There were good days, but the bad ones, they drained me. His wife's anger could be sharp, sudden. One moment laughing, the next accusing him of not caring, of not listening, of being useless. He spent decades trying to prove her wrong, buying flowers, staying silent, working overtime to avoid her moods. I thought this was love, just the hard kind, but really it was fear and habit. It wasn't until his granddaughter, then 12, asked him, Grandpa, why are you always so quiet? That something inside him cracked. I realized I hadn't heard my own voice in years. Michael left at 58, not with drama, with a duffel bag and a goodbye note. I didn't want to fight, I just wanted to breathe. For a while, he lived in a small apartment above a bakery. He got a part-time job shelving books at the local library. He joined a weekly poetry group. He started singing again, a hobby he had abandoned in his 20s. And, most importantly, he found friends who didn't want anything from him but his company. For the first time in years, I felt seen, not managed, not judged, just me. Why relationships matter more than ever. According to a Harvard study that tracked participants for over 75 years, the strongest predictor of health and happiness in later life wasn't wealth, success, or even exercise. It was the quality of your relationships. Toxic connections raise cortisol levels, says Dr. Linda Perez, a geriatric psychologist. That means more stress, more inflammation, higher blood pressure, and even impaired immune function. Loving relationships heal, harmful ones hurt, literally. Michael is now 81. He lives in a co-housing community in Oregon with 6 other seniors. They cook together, share stories, and respect each other's space. He keeps a journal titled, What I Gained. Each page lists a memory, a moment, a realization since leaving. Freedom isn't always loud, he says. Sometimes it's just not feeling anxious when you hear a door open. Now ask yourself, who leaves you feeling drained no matter how much you give? Who makes you feel safe, even in silence? Who listens without fixing and loves without conditions? Limit time with drainers. You don't have to cut everyone off, but you can choose how often, how long, and how deep the connection goes. Set boundaries. No is a complete sentence. Start using it. Invest in the uplifters. Make time for those who inspire, not require. Let go of guilt. Choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. Bonus tip for you, create a peace circle list. 5 people who make you feel seen, safe, and supported. Reach out to one of them this week. Your moment of reflection. Michael chose freedom over familiarity, and in doing so, he gave himself the gift of peace in his final decades. You deserve that too. Let's tag someone who brings peace into your life, or share in the comments. Who did you have to let go for your own good? Let's talk about it below, because healing begins with honesty, and peace begins with choice. Stay kind, stay brave, stay free. Part 3. Train your body before you need it to save you. At 50, you can skip stretches and bounce back. At 70, one fall can change everything. Meet Richard Evans. He never liked gyms. He never wore tracksuits, didn't care for push-ups or protein shakes. But every morning, at 7 a.m. sharp, you could find him walking his quiet suburban street, rain or shine, in a flat cap and sneakers so old the soles curled up at the toes. He started that habit at 60. He's 92 now. And if you ask him why he walks, he won't talk about fitness or six-packs. He'll say, because I like doing things without asking my body for permission. Richard's story isn't flashy. He wasn't recovering from surgery. He hadn't been told by a doctor to change his ways. He just noticed something small. He couldn't tie his shoes without groaning. I realized that if I didn't start doing something daily, I'd soon need help doing everything. So he walked. At first, just to the mailbox, then to the end of the street, then around the block. Eventually, it became his ritual, a rhythm. Years later, during a checkup, his doctor told him something astonishing. Your heart looks like it belongs to a 60-year-old. Whatever you're doing, don't stop. That moment hit Richard harder than any award or retirement party ever had. He said, that's when I knew. I wasn't just buying time, I was buying quality. According to geriatrician Dr. Lauren Hirsch, failing a simple 10-second balance test, standing on one foot, can double your risk of dying in the next 10 years. It's not just about the balance itself, she explains. It's about what balance reflects: coordination, muscle strength, nerve function, and overall resilience. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death among adults over 65. But even a small injury, like a fractured wrist, can spiral into months of immobility, isolation, and depression. And yet, it doesn't take hours at the gym to avoid this path. It takes movement, simple, consistent movement. Today, Richard walks for 30 minutes every morning, practices balancing on one foot while brushing his teeth, and stretches his back and hips during commercial breaks. He claims it's made him more independent, more confident, and strangely, more optimistic. There's something about moving without pain, he says, that reminds you you're still in this fight. Try this today. 1. Walk 20 minutes, even if it's 5 minutes 4 times a day. 2. Balance practice. Stand on one foot for 10 seconds while holding a chair for safety. 3. Stretch your back, hips, and hamstrings daily. 4. Breathe deeply outside. Oxygen is your friend. Bonus tip for you. Don't wait until pain forces you to move. Move now so you can keep choosing your life instead of letting your body decide for you. Comment below, can you stand on one foot for 10 seconds? Try it. Tell us what happened. Let's walk this journey together, step by step. Part 4, speak kindly to yourself. The most abusive voice in my life was often my own. Come to the story of Dorothy Lee. She never yelled at anyone. Not her kids, not her neighbors, not even the mailman who always left packages in the rain. But the voice inside her head, that voice was cruel. I used to say things to myself I wouldn't say to my worst enemy, she admitted. You're stupid, you're lazy, you're old and it's too late. She carried that voice like a shadow. It followed her from room to room, especially in silence, especially at night, until one day she saw a quote taped to the wall at her granddaughter's school. Be careful how you talk to yourself. You're listening. It stopped her cold. Dorothy was 84 when she started a gratitude journal. At first it felt silly. What do I have to be grateful for, she asked. Her husband had passed. Her friends were thinning. Her knees hurt. But she tried. Day 1. The orchid on my windowsill bloomed again. Day 2. I got through the whole night without waking up in pain. Day 3. A stranger complimented my earrings at the pharmacy. A week in, she noticed something. Her tone was changing. She stopped calling herself useless. She stopped apologizing for existing. She even started looking in the mirror again, not to criticize, but to say, you're still here, and that's something. According to the NIH's 2023 Aging Well Journal, positive self-talk improves immune function, lowers cortisol levels, and increases recovery rates after illness. Your body listens to your mind, says Dr. Carla Estevez, a psychologist specializing in elderly mental health. If your mind constantly says, I'm done, your body will start shutting down. But if your mind says, I'm still trying, your body responds with life. And Dorothy today. Dorothy is now 90. She leads a virtual journaling group every Tuesday morning. The members, all over 60, log in from across the country. They write, they laugh, they share the kindness they wish they had given themselves decades ago. Dorothy says, every time I write something kind to myself, it's like rewriting an old painful script, and each time it hurts less. So write one kind sentence to yourself every morning. Something simple. I'm trying. I showed up today. I'm still learning. When you catch yourself using harsh words, pause. Ask, would I say this to someone I love? Create a mirror mantra, a phrase you say out loud each time you see your reflection. Dorothy's is, you matter. You always have. Forgive past versions of yourself. They didn't know what you know now. Bonus tip for you. Record yourself reading one kind paragraph aloud. Listen to it daily. Let your voice become your comfort, not your critic. What's one kind sentence you can say to yourself today? Write it in the comments. Let it live in public. Let others feel braver because you were. Because kindness to ourselves isn't weakness. It's the strongest kind of healing there is. Part 5. Define success before the world defines it for you. If you don't write your own definition of success, the world will hand you one, and it's usually hollow. Meet Robert Chan. He didn't feel old at 65. He felt invisible. The phone calls stopped. The emails slowed. The calendar, once packed with meetings and deadlines, was blank. He retired thinking he'd feel free. But freedom at first felt a lot like loneliness. People used to ask for my opinion, he said. Then overnight, it's like I disappeared. He wandered for a while. Grocery runs, reruns, reading books he couldn't finish. But something inside him needed more. Not noise, not busyness, meaning. One afternoon, while returning a novel to his local library, he saw a flyer on the corkboard near the exit. Volunteers needed, reading buddies for local kids. 1 hour a week, one child's life. He almost threw it away. Then he paused. I figured, I can read, and I've got time, so why not? That first week he met Jalen, a third grader who struggled to read aloud. He mumbled, avoided eye contact, fidgeted, but Robert showed up. Week after week, they read Dr. Seuss, then Shel Silverstein. Then eventually Jalen asked to bring his own book, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. That was the moment, Robert said. When he handed me that book, I knew I mattered. Again. Now 10 years later, Robert still mentors twice a week. He knows each child's favorite snack. He remembers their birthdays. And when Jalen graduated high school, he mailed Robert a handwritten letter. Thank you for not giving up on me when I didn't believe in myself. You taught me more than reading. You taught me that I mattered. Robert is 89 now. He says, success today? It's being remembered fondly. That's it. He no longer checks bank statements like he used to. He checks his heart. How did I make someone feel today? Did I bring comfort? Did I offer help? Did I smile more than I frowned? That's my scoreboard now. A 2022 study by the Institute for Positive Aging found that seniors who engage in meaningful service, volunteering, mentoring, caregiving, report 33% higher life satisfaction and 25% lower rates of depression. Purpose extends longevity, says researcher Dr. Nina Clark. But more importantly, it deepens the quality of our later years. The truth is, so many of us chase society's idea of success, income, status, youth. But those definitions fade. What remains? The people you've lifted, the love you've offered, the peace you've protected. That is the success no one can measure, but everyone remembers. Write down what makes you feel truly alive, not what looks good on paper, what feels good in your soul. Create a reverse resume. List the things you've done that made others smile, feel loved, or find hope. Set a vision for the next 20 years. Don't think retirement, think reinvention. Say it out loud. Put it on your fridge. Own your truth. Quote to remember, a man without a vision for his future always returns to his past. Don't get stuck replaying old chapters. Start writing new ones, on your terms. If you've made it here, that says something powerful. You care about your future, about your peace, about living, not just existing in this chapter of life. And we want to say this clearly. You're not done, not even close. If you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, or beyond, you still have time. Time to heal, to change, to try again, to let go, to fall in love with yourself, to live a life that makes you proud. So we ask you, which of these 5 truths hit you hardest? Was it the peace you've postponed, the relationships you've outgrown, the body asking you to care, the voice you need to soften, the success you're ready to redefine? Tell us in the comments. We read every word. And if something today resonated with you, even one sentence, don't let it stop here. Share this video. Pass it to someone younger, someone lost, someone who needs to hear what you wish you'd known sooner. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's next. This isn't the end. It's your beginning. Again, you're worth every breath, every step, every rewrite. Until next time, stay well, stay brave, stay kind. We're rooting for you. With all our heart, dear Seniors Life.